Hello, everyone. I'm going to be going over lesson 1-2 today, basic constructions. You will need two things for sure. You need a compass. Okay, these make circles. That's what they're pretty much mainly for. And we'll have a protractor. If you don't have a protractor, a ruler, but these are things that you should already have. I mean, these are what we're going to need. So basic constructions, as we look at this slide and everything like that. Now, online, like if we were to use the Savaas and everything like that, they're going to have all these tools that you can use. Like if you're using the online textbook, they have these tools where you can kind of get different things and stuff set up. Like they have the protractors, things like that, making circles. But I can tell you, even being an experienced math teacher, they're a little difficult to deal with. So I usually use, like I would recommend using your book and using a compass and everything on there. Like we do in class. So we're going to learn, how does a straight edge and a compass used to make basic instructions? How are we going to use those tools to make a basic one? Here's 3 important vocab words. We're going to learn a couple of them. You will notice bisector is used twice. Bisector, if you don't know, cuts in half. It bisects it, cuts it in half. Really important word. So think about this. Angle bisector, it cuts the angle in half. Right? That's easy. Now, perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular, actually, I'm going to erase this here. The symbol that you're going to see for perpendicular is this. Now, what does perpendicular mean? 90 degrees or right angle. So this right here means that we're going to take a segment and we're going to make it 90 degrees. But that's the perpendicular. Bisector means it cuts that in half into 2 congruent parts. We learned the word congruent yesterday. Okay? And then constructions will get there. So like I said, this first one sits there and says, hey, make this object here, and you just sit there and play with that. Well, I'm just going to take my compass. So how can we make that object is, start with a circle here and go ahead, make a circle, right? Just kind of do it. So how do we do this? Well, I'm going to pick another point. I'm going to leave my compass the exact same size. And just to kind of show you what this will look like, I'm going to make another circle. I'm not changing my compass by any means. Now, as you notice, you got 2 intersection points, which they have here. So go ahead to this one and make a circle. Go to that other point, make a circle. And then you just keep going. Find your 2 intersection points. And this one, if we did it somewhat right, they should be the same exact one. And there you go. Kind of looks like a cool little flower in there, but that's how you do it. So what instructions can you give to another student so that they can make a copy of your design? Like, what are some things that you would say? That's really important. So I would say maybe go ahead and pause this and maybe try to come up with something if you want to before I give you the answer. But really, how do you do this is you make a circle. You use the same radius to make another circle that intersects in 2 places. And then at each intersection point, you just keep making circles until you get to where you end up meeting. Okay. And as you can notice, I'm kind of missing one. Like I'm missing one of the things here. So you kind of have to, I should have done that. One more circle there. So we have them all. Okay. Even though we already had the intersection. So I had missed one. Use the tool to draw a straight line, segments to connect points where the circles intersect. Any of the segments that you drew are the same length. So they want to know is, okay, so use the straight edge tool to connect the points. So if you were to connect these points, and then you could even do this, what do you think is true about each one of these? They are congruent. They're the same length, because you didn't change the radius of the compass. So every single one of those line segments are congruent. They're the same. Okay? This first one, we're just going to copy a segment. All right, we're just going to sit there and we're going to copy a segment. It says, how can you copy a segment using only a straight edge and a compass? So now the book is going to have all these steps in here. You're going to, I'm just going to take a ruler and copy it. I mean, you could do that. You know, I mean, you could sit there, but we want to use a compass and a protractor. So the first thing you all need to do is you already have, let's say, we already have line AB. I'm just going to make these a little bit bigger. So we want to copy this segment as best we can. The first thing you should do, and I'm just going to use a straight line here. Okay. Now we want to copy this exact length of the segment. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you should take your straight edge. As you can see, they did that here. They just took a straight edge and made a line. Okay, and they picked just a general point. It doesn't matter where it is. They're going to call this line L. We want it to be the same length. Well, let's use a compass. A compass does more than draw circles. As we just learned, it keeps distances too. So all you're going to do is take your compass from those 2 points. We're going to slide it on down here, and you just make a little arc right there. Okay? We'll just call this N maybe. There. You just copied a segment. Okay? So place the compass at A and open it the length of AB. Using the same setting, place the compass point on M and draw an arc through L. Mark it N. We just did a construction of a geometric figure. A construction of a geometric figure is made only using a straight edge and a compass. So what is a construction? Using your compass, using your straight edge. Not really much to that one. That one's a pretty basic one. If you'd like to, I'll make this. You can pause this. So here's let's see, this is step 1, right? And then we got step 2, step 3. So if you want to write these steps down on what to do, you can. Okay, pause the video. So now you get to try it. So you already have this in your book. You already have X, Y. So the first thing you're going to need to do is take your straight edge. Now I didn't do that really with you last time, but I will this time here with you, okay? And you know what, really, like I'm sitting here messing with this, trying to get it to be exactly the same. I mean, it does help. So I'm going to draw a straight line, make it any length you want to. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it does not matter. You're going to mark a point here. Does it tell us what to mark it as? No. So we can name it anything we want to. Do A. You're going to then get your compass, right? Go from the length of X, Y. I'm going to call this B. And there you go. You just copied your first segment. Great. Great job, everyone. Okay, how to construct a copy of an angle. I will tell you, this is one of the ones that isn't difficult, but it does seem to confuse students sometimes. So this is a good one that we're going to go through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually post the steps that the books say. So I'd like you, once I put all these up, to pause the video and write these steps down. So there's step 1, step 2, step 3. Like, don't worry about how to do them yet if you don't want to. Like, if you want to write down the step and then try it, you're more than welcome to. Or you can just write down the steps and then I'll go over what each step is. Okay? So I'm going to put this up here. There's your steps. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you here. Okay. Then you got step 4. Step 4, step 5, and then the conclusion, step 6, okay? Pause the video, write the steps down. I'm actually going to do this with you though. And it says try it, but what we're going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make an angle, okay? I'm just going to make an angle here. So we're going to copy the angle based off of what we did. Now, the first step it said to do is draw another line. Now, what you need to understand, everyone, is that this line here and this line here, okay, these two don't have to be the same length. We're not copying a segment or a ray. I mean, this is a ray anyway. We're copying what this measurement of this angle is. Now, some people are like, why can't you just take a protractor, measure the angle, and do it over here? Because that doesn't work. You have to know how to do it. So if we go back here, right, this says the first step, mark a point X, okay, okay, so we're going to do that. We're just going to mark this X. I'm going to keep kind of going back and draw a ray with the endpoint X. And that's what we did, okay? The second step, place the compass at point A, draw an arc so that it intersects both rays in angle A, and label that B and C. So I'm going to take my compass here. Now, notice it doesn't say what length to do this as, okay? It doesn't say what length, meaning you can actually do any length you want to, okay? So you can do it any length. It doesn't matter. Just make sure it intersects both of these, and you have B and you have C, okay? So that's step 1, that's step 2. Step 3. Without changing the compass, right? Without changing it, you're going to go to X and you're going to make another arc. But you want to make the arc big enough, okay? So we're going to make this big enough here. All we know is that this part here is like somewhere on this arc, right? This arc here and this arc here are the same length, okay? So somewhere on this arc, we're going to need to find another intersection point. So we go over to step 4. This is the step that students forget or misinterpret. Place the compass at point C down here and B. Okay, so we have C and B. So now this is where your compass, you need to change it. We need to measure the length between C and B. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to pull this one in. Okay. Now, if you notice, though, when we come back to this one and we made that arc over here, notice that they did X and Y, right? We made that the Y part there. So this is Y. Okay. What we're doing, A goes with X. Like, so A becomes X. We're copying it. C goes with Y.
Back for an interruption, just a reminder, there's a sponsor.
Sorry about that interruption there.
Extracurricular meeting in the lecture hall starting in about 2 minutes. Thanks.
Sorry about the interruption. Announcements here while we're at school. All right. C goes with Y. What we need to find is where on this arc B ends up being, okay? So all I did was take this compass, okay, with this distance of C to B, right? And I moved it over here, and I make an intersection right there. That's what step 4 is. Step 4 and step 5 are saying. So we make this Z. So B there. So what do we need to do? Draw a straight line right through Z, or ray. And there you go. They're the same. Okay? They're the exact same. This right here and this right here are the same exact angle. All right. So that is there. So now you have to try it. Okay, they want you to copy this angle. So go ahead and try to do it now, everyone. So make it anyway, pause the video, try it on your own in your book. Okay. It does not matter what you label these things as. This is the step everyone forgets. You need to go between these 2 points. So as you notice, I barely made an intersection there. So if I had to, I could always go back and redo that one, but I barely made it. There you go. We copied an angle. Hopefully you guys are getting that. Okay. Perpendicular bisector. If you can do an angle, this one's pretty easy. Okay. CF4 says perpendicular bisector is a segment. Now write this definition: a segment of a line segment or a ray that is perpendicular to the segment. That's a lot of words in there. Basically, cuts AB in half is 90 degrees or right angle. Okay. It can be a segment, it can be a line, it can be a ray. It's one of those. So we're going to use our tools here. So as again, we have step one. Notice what step one says. You're going to want to set the compass. Now write the steps down again, okay? Set the compass between A and B, but it has to be greater than half. Okay, it has to be greater than half of it. You've got to go over the halfway point, anywhere over the halfway point. And you're going to draw an arc from A. Then step two, okay, and you're going to do that from, you want to draw an arc above and below. Notice how we do it above and below. You need to do it on both. You can't do it on just one. You got to do it above and below it. That's an important step. Step two, keeping your compass the same setting, move it over to B and make a arc above and below it. Next, you're going to label E and F, okay, the two intersection points. And your last step is simply connecting them, okay? So I'm going to make these steps. If you need to write them down, I totally understand. Pause the video, okay? So pause it if you need to here. So you can see them, okay? Then I'm going to do it with you all. So I'm actually going to do the construction. Take my compass, and I'll use different colors here. I'm going to go above. I'm going to go below. Keeping my compass the same, I go over to B. I go below. And above. AB, you can call this CD, you can call it XY, it really does not matter. You then take your straight edge, whatever you got, and you connect the points. This is 90 degrees, and these are now congruent. Okay? So I'll go right back to that. There you go. So now you have to try it. Do it real quick. Pause the video, try it on your own in your book, okay? One thing that you might see me do sometimes is instead of just the little arcs, I'll just do a big full arc. You can do that because it stays the same. I come over here, I do a full arc. Okay. This is J, this is K, I'll do L and M. Okay, angle bisector. What's an angle bisector? It's cutting an angle in half. Here's step one. Here is step two. Here is step three. And here is step four, or the conclusion. Pause the video, write them down. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to place the compass on A. We're going to cut this thing in half. It doesn't matter what length you go to. Okay, you just make an arc any way you want to. Place the compass on point B and draw an arc on the interior of A with the same setting. So now here's what's kind of interesting. You can actually change or not change your compass. You just got to make sure when you make your arc from B and your arc from C, they're the same. Because you want an equal distance so you can get these, and then you're going to draw a line that connects them. So an example here is, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label this A. I'm going to make an arc, and I can make it any size I want to. Okay, any size. We're going to go with B and C, just kind of. Now, what I'm saying here is that you can do this anyway. A lot of students like copying an angle. Will sit here and go from B to C if you want to, just to kind of give you an idea or something like that. You don't have to do that. You can actually make this, but what you need to do is when you make your arc from point B and from point C, they've got to stay the same. You've got to get these arcs to intersect the same distance as B and C. We then draw a line right through here. We have just cut this angle into two congruent angles. Okay? And yeah, they labeled this point D. Okay? So again, you have a try it. So I'd say go ahead and try this. Pause the video, see how you do. And then come back and I'll show you how to do it. I'm just going to keep my compass the same this time. See where those two intersect, and then I'm going to do the best I can to draw a straight line. There you go. Hope that helps. So an artist wants to center a line, a sculpture. They want to find the center of a new sculpture with the bay window and the lobby museum and everything. He also wants to center align it with the entrance. Where should it go? So you got to figure out in this one, like, okay, where is he going to go? So if the sculpture is center aligned with the bay window, it lies on the angle bisector, right? So you got to figure out where the bay window is and where the thing. So as you can see, this is a little more, intensive than there and stuff like that. So the bay window is right here. This is the bay window. So if you want it to be centered on this bay window right here, you would do an angle bisector, which is what they did. Okay, and they drew this line all the way out. They also, if it's center aligned with the entrance, which this is the entrance over here, you would sit here and take this whole, like the entrance is right here. You'd find it, you do a perpendicular bisector of between here, and where these two rays or lines meet is exactly where that would go. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea of where it should be placed. All right. Refers to where should the sculpture be placed if it's center aligned with the museum entrance and the center of the ticket sales. Okay, so you'd have to figure where that one is. The sculpture should be placed in the intersection of the perpendicular bisector of the museum entrance. And so if this is the entrance, right? So you would do that perpendicular bisector again here, and then figure out where the ticket sales are. And the ticket sales look like this is where they'd be. So from here to here, you do another perpendicular bisector. And then that's where they would be, okay? So constructions, here we go, right? This is how you do an angle bisector. Use a compass, what it's used for, a straight edge, what it's used for. These are good things to know. All right, how are straight edges and compass? Pause the video, answer these 4 questions the best you can, and then come back. There's your answer. A straight edge is used to make lines or segments. A compass is used to make arcs, measure distances, and mark congruent lengths. Using these tools can help you copy and bisect angles and segments. All right, what did this person do wrong? Chris tries to copy angle T, but is unable to make an exact copy. What did they do wrong? Okay, so they have an arc here, right? They didn't measure this. This is the mistake that most people make. Chris did not use the compass to measure the distance from when the arc intersected. He didn't measure these two. Okay, if you can't see that online, what I'm talking about, which two? He did not do basically this. Okay, that's what he did wrong. See, it's really far apart there. That's what he did wrong. Common mistake. That's the one that they usually miss. What is the difference between a line that is perpendicular to a segment and the perpendicular bisector? Okay, So if something's perpendicular, here's an example. That's perpendicular. What's a perpendicular bisector is when it cuts that line segment exactly in half. So see, you can have things that are perpendicular but not cutting in half, okay? Here's the textbook definition if you want to write that down. You pause the video before I go on. Let's see. First, so Darren is copying ABC. First, he constructs DE as a copy of AB. And then next, he constructs angle D as a copy of A. And using DE as one of the sides, explain what he needs to do to complete it. He needs to basically he needs to copy AC, length segment AC, using D as one of the endpoints in there. So basically, he's trying to copy all three of these angles, or this triangle, so he just has to complete the last step. All right, now for these, it says, use your construction tools to copy the segment. Copy the segment, everyone. Just do what we did earlier, right? Copy the segment. Make your line. Okay, we don't know how long it is or whatever right there. We're just going to copy it. You put your compass to the length of these here, and boom. That's how you copy a segment. Do a perpendicular bisector of this. You guys should know how to do this one. Go back and look at perpendicular bisector. But, I mean, if you really need some help with this still, this is where you go past the halfway point, make your two arcs. Okay. This one here for copying a segment, we go from here to here. Call this AB. There you go. Use the tool to construct. Use the tool to construct a copy of a segment. Use the tool. Okay. Oh wait. 5. Oh, so you just do it again. So see, copy it, then do a perpendicular bisector. So you guys should know how to do those by now. Use this tool to copy an angle. Okay. So we got to copy that angle. I'm going to take my compass here again and make my arc. Make my arc. Remember the step that everyone forgets. I'm going to go from here to here. Boom, copy the angle. Okay? Do an angle bisector of this angle. This is the one we have to just cut in half. This is the one that everyone does really well on in the past classes that I've had. Remember, so I'm going to move this one down here. Go to there. Then you go to each of these intersection points, make a little arc out front, make another one, and draw right through it. Copy an angle again. You guys should know how to do this by now. And then use the tools to construct an angle bisector. So do that again. And then you can try to have fun with this one. A sidewalk is perpendicular to the and bisecting the existing sidewalk. So a new sidewalk is going to be perpendicular here and bisecting it. So they're going to put another one in here at the point where the new sidewalk meets the fence around the farmer's market. So you would sit here and draw a line. So basically, you would take your compass and you do a perpendicular bisector, right? Okay. So we're going to go from here. About what point would the gate be placed? And that looks like, so it says like -2, 6. So I think I just got off a little bit here. I think my screen got a little bit there, but if you do this on your paper, you'll probably get a better answer than I did. But -2 is right here and 6. So I just got off a little bit. That's about where it should be. Okay. All right. I hope that helps you. If you have any questions, ask your teacher.